Hello, welcome to the pod. Now, what sort of role does age play in our ability to get and stay lean? Or, in other words, lose fat and keep it off? That is the question that we're going to be answering today. Because if I had a nickel for every time that I've heard someone say, I hit X age and my body changed, and what worked before stopped working, I'd have a lot of nickels. And the thing about that X age is that it's been all sorts of different numbers. I've heard folks say 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. And so what is really going on here? Because how could it be that some folks experience this apparent change at 30 and others don't until, say, 50? That is a huge difference. So let's get to the bottom of it. The research shows that the metabolism does tend to slow down in certain individuals as they age by about 1 to 2% per decade. So let's say that you maintain your weight on 2,000 calories per day at 30 years old. If your metabolism slows down by 1 to 2% per decade, let's just split the difference and say 1.5%, you will be able to maintain your weight on 1,970 calories per day at 40 years old. So 1.5% equates to a 30 calorie per day difference at 30 versus 40. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, 30 calories is not a lot. It's a bite of a banana, okay? So we're talking something that is so small and trivial that it's difficult to even measure. So our maintenance calories went from 2,000 at 30 to 1970 at 40. And then they'd be 1940 at 50 years old, 1910 at 60 years old, and so on. We're talking a reduction in less than 100 calories in a 30-year period. 3 decades. That's tiny. But regardless, you might still be wondering, well, what's causing that really, really small decrease in the metabolism? It turns out it is a combination of less movement, or in other words, calorie expenditure, and less muscle mass. Because as we age, we tend to lose muscle mass. And muscle mass requires additional calories. It is metabolically expensive, meaning it requires more calories than fat does to sustain itself. So what does this all mean in practical terms? What are the real world takeaways here? The first one is that the metabolism slows down to such a small degree that it is practically irrelevant in the real world, because trying to track the difference between 2,000 calories and 1970 is just ridiculous. And 2, you can sidestep this super minor slowdown by simply staying active and maintaining your muscle mass via resistance training. You can even, quote unquote, increase your metabolism as you age if you were to increase your activity and or even build some muscle. Meaning, the metabolism isn't something with a mind of its own. Our metabolisms are a byproduct or reflection of our actions and behaviors, which is amazing news if you're keen on getting results, and not so amazing news if you were looking for a scapegoat. I've had clients in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and even 80s get great results. Their fat loss is not impaired by their age in the slightest, because we are sure to dial in their lifestyle habits and behaviors. Nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress management for the win. The reason why people either gain weight or have a harder time losing weight as they age is because they tend to eat more and move less. Simple as that. Their behavior changes, which again is great news because you are not at the whim of your age or this thing called your metabolism. The ball is in your court. You can simply modify your behavior and achieve the results that you are after, whether you are 35, 55, or 75. Speaking of 75, I have a client right now that is 75 years old. He started working with me 17 weeks ago when he was about 209, 210 pounds. And yesterday, he clocked in at 186.5 pounds. He is down over 23 pounds in 17 weeks at 75. Not a spring chicken, but he's putting in the work. He's staying consistent, and we are focusing on what matters most, i.e. the fundamentals: nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress management. His age, his metabolism, his this, his that, non-factors. They're just stories, guys. Stories that folks spin up about why they are not getting results. And it is not because of any of these fairy tales. Fat loss is simply a result of, first and foremost, your eating habits, and secondly, your movement habits, which again should be incredibly good news. If you're interested in applying for one-on-one nutritional coaching and or workout design with me, you can click the link in the description below or head on over to n1fitness.com/coaching. On Instagram, I'm at n1fitness. On TikTok, I'm at the n1fitness. And on YouTube, I am at Marcus Sadu. Feel free to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform if you'd like to. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you found this episode useful and empowering, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.